What's up, guys? It's your boy Tuckscutzz. This is my first time doing a tutorial, a haircut, any type of tutorial. So my boy here, he asked for a mid-skid fade with a little bit of a drop and a number 3 at the top with the grain. We're gonna be cutting with the grain. So first, I'm gonna be brushing out all his hair, make sure everything's lifted up so when I cut, everything comes out nice and smooth. You want to do the same thing with your fades. When you fade, you want to make sure you're brushing out all the hairs. Make sure your fades are coming out nice and smooth, so at the end it's nice and blurry. So we're using a number 3 on top, cutting his hair with the grain. And when I'm cutting his hair, I'm brushing it out at the same time, making sure everything's falling down in the same place, falling down smoothly. So when you're cutting with the grain, you want to pay attention to all the hairs, because some can be growing upwards, some can be growing backwards, and you don't want to be thinking you're going with the grain, but really you're making another part of the hair lighter than the hair you're cutting actually with the grain. It can also cause bald spots depending on the hair texture. So after we cut the hair, there's a lot of pieces that are sticking up still, like all over the head, so I really want to get those hairs down. We're gonna be using conditioner and water, really combing them hairs down. The comb actually wasn't really working that well, so I decided to actually use my baby brush, and it actually worked out pretty good to get those hairs nice and laid down. Now we're just gonna blow dry them up real quick, and we get ready for the cut. So what I'm doing, I'm taking my number 3 and I'm creating a nice base to start fading on. I'm taking off all the bulk with number 3 against the grain. It's okay with the fade depending on the hair texture, but I'm just creating a nice base so when we start a skin fade, we have something easy to work with. You don't want to just have a bunch of clumps of hair that you don't even need to be cutting. I started from a little bit above the ear, right at the C. If you see at the C cup, you see I started a little bit above the ear because we're doing just a little bit of a drop. I'm really getting the skin going. We're gonna go all the way around the head. I like to create a nice line, so when I do cut up all the hair, it goes right up to that line. I don't have to retouch anything back up. So we're just gonna do this all the way around the head, and you just want to make sure you get that nice shape in the back also, and make it connect really well. After we're done, take down the bulk with the number 3. I usually like to start my fades off with a number 1 after the skin, just to give myself like a nice base, another nice base to fade that skin into the hair and give it a nice blurry look. So I probably put my 1 up about an inch, maybe less, depending on the size of the head, and depending on the shape of the head also. After the 1, I'm going straight into the 1.5. I'm not only pressing on the head with the 1.5, I'm also grazing, using the heel of my 1.5 up to the next length of hair where the 2 could go, and next we will be using the 2, but right now I'm just like grazing the bulk to really get my fade going in right into the longest hairs that are at the top. Now I'm going with the number 2, really taking out that bulk. Blending my number 2 into my number 3 by moving the lever up and down from a 2 and a 2.5. You'll see it really fading in really nicely here. Now I'm using my magic clips all the way open, which is a half. These are not zero gapped. I'm just now blending out this line. I will be playing with the lever back and forth. I do not use these to fade out the skin lines. I use my Andis fades. They take out any skin line from a 0 gap. It's crazy. They're super sharp clippers. These are my Andis fades right here. What I'm doing here, I'm really knocking that skin line out, opening and closing the lever all the way closed and really knocks out the skin, and then blending it in with it all the way open. These clippers are very sharp, and you know, not a lot of people have these. I actually never seen anyone have these clippers, these exact clippers. It's funny, my sister back in the, my mom back in the day got me these clippers, and I still use them till this day. So I do cut on one side of the head first, and then I'll cut on the other side, and then I'll cut on the back. That's just how I like doing my haircuts. I like focusing on one side at first, and then when I do the other side, and it really connects very well. I like it. It works for me. Right now, I'm edging him up. He did tell me his last barber did push him back. Whoever he went to last, I don't know. So we're just gonna, fix him up real quick. Get a nice C cup. That back is looking crazy right now. Everything's gonna connect nicely though. When I do the C cups, I do take my time, depending on how it's cutting, depending on how much work it needs. I don't just, just make it a C like super fast like I see some barbers do. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you get it nice and sharp in like one little swoop, then man, by all means, hell yeah. But I take my time with it every time, and I always come back. I always will detail it back up, detail and touch everything back up, just to make sure. But he's looking all right now. So all right, now we're gonna be doing the same thing we did on the other side, starting with the number 1, working our way up to the number 3, and knocking out that bulk, and then working out that skin line with your 0 gap clippers, whatever you use. I'm using the Andis fades for my skin line, and you really want to just play with that lever until you see blurriness, until you really can't see anything, until it's smoothed out and it's faded nicely. Take your time. If you're just now starting off, take your time. You don't need to be hitting 30-minute, 20-minute cuts. Doesn't really matter. You just want to perfect your craft. So I'm gonna get this man looking right. I do like the way, I love the way when you edge up, the fade just comes together. It just comes out nice. It's like all that work you just put in on that fade, it just like put the cherry on top when you get that nice crispy edge up. The fade came out real nice. You're gonna see when I turn to the back what it did when I did one side first and another side first. You'll see how it connects really nice with the back. It's just, I like it this way, and it works for me. So you can see how the fade connects, and the fade looks pretty nice connecting to the back. You can almost like just leave it here like a mohawk, but that's not what he's getting. We're gonna do the exact same steps as we did on the sides. We're gonna do it on the back. I'll always do the exact same steps. I gotta be honest. I just, most of the times if I see a line, I'm gonna just knock it out real quick. I'll do my steps, but sometimes when you see things that you could just, just hit it out real quick and go ahead and do so. Like that's. It's just it's just nature. Not everything's gonna be step by step at cutting hair, and you always soon realize that when you do start cutting hair. Right here I am using my half guard to blur things out a little bit, touch them up, detail them up. I am turning my chair left to right, looking on both sides, making sure that it's connecting, and I can also see if there is any lines in different lightings, because you could catch some lines in dark lightings and medium lightings and bright lightings, and you'll see two different things from your point of view and from an angle, or even from the mirror. You know, looking at a mirror, you could see things that you can't even see with the human eye. So that's why I always go back, you know, I always detail, because lighting is a really big thing with hair. Like I said, I do go back, I do touch up, you know, I do. If I have to line up some areas, then I will. It's no big deal. Checking on your work. I mean, right now I'm just, you know, I'm lining up an area I feel like needs to be a little bit lighter. And the fade actually came out very nice. This hair texture is probably one of my favorite hair textures. It's very easy to cut, and when you start cutting, you'll find some hair textures that you work best with. Jeez, can't even talk right now. That you work best with. Now we're gonna start on his front lineup. I am gonna spray it down with medium holds hairspray and combing it down. Make sure the hairline really stays down. So keep brushing your hairline, keep brushing it out. And I always start in the middle. I love to start in the middle. It comes out better, it comes out nice. Then I work my way to the sides. I like to do one side first, and I go back over and do another side. When you get to your corners, really pay attention to detail. You know, you want them pointy, but you don't want them too pointy. You know, get it just right where it's nice and natural. When you're using the razor blade, you really want to stretch that skin to get a really crispy lineup. I am using my boy's razor blade holder. He gave it to me when I was working at his shop. Finally Fresh. Look him up on Instagram. He's dope. He's a dope barber. He went over to he's in Denver now actually. But yeah, you really want to stretch that skin, you know, really detail it here. It's gonna make the haircut pop. Same with the front lineup. You just really want to stretch that skin on the forehead. And what I'm doing here, I am dry shaving. I am not using shave gel. Rarely I use shave gel. On necks I do use shave gel, but on lineups I like to just go dry. Comes out super crispy. You can see more. I could pull on skin better. It's just, you know, it's just how I do it. And this is the finished cut right here. Gotta hit him up with some alcohol real quick, some Clubman aftershave. I know that it burns. It burns. But it came out fresh. Hope y'all like. Hope y'all subscribe, comment.